reaction to this episode is wow, this episode's great. I am mad a little bit that we didn't get the costume, but I see what they're trying to build up to. We're slow burning it, and I kind of like it. Not gonna lie, I kind of like the slow burn. So yeah, I think it's a really good episode, and we get a lot of good character development, and we see where Kingpin and Matt Murdock are. And as I said before, the beautiful picture is building, and so let's break down the episode. So the episode starts with the pack up of Hector's suit after his death, and we hear Hector, took a 9 millimeter to the head, and we see Hector's niece pull up to the police station or precinct or whatever, and she's demanding to see his body, right? And obviously she can't see the body because she's a child, and Hector's niece, she obviously knows that the cops are behind his death. And Matt does end up consoling her because she ends up crying, and Matt hugs her to make her obviously feel better after her uncle just got shot in the head. And we also see a scene of Muse carrying a body into the train station somewhere, and then the scene just ends. And then the episode opens with excuse me, and the episode opens with one of Kingpin's boys. He's in the club and he's talking about one of Kingpin's plans, right? And we're going to see where that goes as we get deeper into this breakdown. And we also see, two cops outside, and they were arresting a guy on the street for stealing something, and he was super mad about it. And so then we also see, Kristen, who's Matt's girlfriend, the counselor that's counseling, obviously Kingpin and his wife. She ends up calling Matt, and she has a referral for him for a case. And we then go to Kingpin and Vanessa in counseling, and we do find something out. Obviously, Vanessa is mad that he left her, and because he left her, she ended up finding a new man, a sneaky link. She ended up having an affair. And so apparently she had an affair with this guy named Adam, and she was really into him. Most of the reason because he's not Kingpin, he's not involved in a crime empire, like he is and was. And so and you saw that when she talked about him and how infatuated she was with the guy Kingpin, you can see him getting pissed off the more she kind of was simping about him. And a part of me thinks that Vanessa feels like he might have found a new chick when he left as well. That's what I think too, is one of the reasons why she cheated on him. And so Kingpin obviously him leaving hurt her in a really deep way. And we also learned that Fisk did find the guy that he was sleeping with. Now, if you're not dumb, Fisk did something about it. And we see that, Kristen's asking Fisk, like, what did you do? Fisk, like, me and him had a talk, And then when she asked where he was, Fisk and Vanessa both said at the same time that they don't know. And, Kristen, the counselor, asked Vanessa, like, yo, dude, like, was there a way for you to end the relationship? But she was like, I never got the chance to, hinting to that Fisk did something to him. So she then asked Vanessa to talk in private, and Kristen really asked, like, yo, is he beating on you? And Vanessa was like, look, Fisk would do a lot of things in a very extreme way. Beating on me is not one of those things. So glad that there's some type of thing there. So we then see the guy that stole the caramel corn. His name is Leroy Bradford, and he was the guy that was arrested earlier, and he is being represented by Matt Murdock right now. So Leroy says, he lying because we know he stole the camera show, and he was like, couldn't have been a scroll. I thought that was funny that they're bringing up, other things that have happened in the MCU. I think that's cool. And Murdoch, was like, bro, like, you got caught stealing. He's like, look, I can get you spend some time here, but you're probably not going to get scot-free due to your record. And Leroy just starts crying like, yo, I need probation, blah, 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 blah. So Matt goes and tries to get him probation. He fails, and Leroy ends up getting 10 days in jail, which is a really good deal, because the other case before when he got caught, he spent like 35 days in jail, or 30 days in jail. So that happens, and we also see Matt Murdock run into Officer Powell, and Matt obviously accuses Officer Powell of killing Hector, and then Officer Powell tries to like push up Matt against the wall and try to threaten him. He's like, yo, like how would you feel if we expose you to the bar for like, what you've done, of how you interfered in a case and then assaulted cops? And Matt was just talking his ish, like, yeah, like, you guys would, you said next time you guys are going to need more people if you want to come at me, because Matt beat the crap out of him. And so that kind of happened. And so then we see Kingpin, he's at a boating dock, and Kingpin has a plan to rebuild this dock to, help New York. And this is also where the shooting happened last episode with, Kingpin's gang and some other gangs that are around there. And one of Kingpin's guys also tells him, well, first his political assistant person, his campaign manager or whatever, she's like, bro, like, there's 1,000 steps you have to make before you even want to do this. And Kingpin's guy, one of his boys, also tells him that, the gang war is getting out of control, and that he needs to do something about it because the crime happened at that dock, like I said. And Matt Murdock, And we also go back to Matt Murdock and Leroy, and he tells Leroy that he got him 10 days, and Leroy got mad. And he's went on this rant about how, last time he was in jail, his benefits got cut off, and the last time, the last time he was in jail and all this stuff. And Matt's just like, yeah, like I feel you, bro, just feeling bad for him. But I mean, he kind of put it on himself, for stealing. But he feels bad because he's poor, and he feels like he has no other way out. And we also find out that someone on Kingpin's team, because they're just flipping scenes so fast. We found out that Kingpin's team leaked his plans about the boating dock, and obviously we know that in the beginning of the episode, one of Kingpin's boys talked about it when he was in the club, and that's why it got leaked. And so Kingpin finds out, and in Kingpin fashion, he crashes out. He's snapping on his team. He's like, we're going to find out who this leak is. And obviously, one of his boys steps up to say, yo, it was me. If you want to fire me, then fire me. Like, but I did this to support you because I believe in you. So Kingpin's like, bro, like, I'm not going to fire you. But he threatened him. He said, yo, if you do that again, you will never do anything again. Just saying like, yo, don't ever cross me again. So then we see Matt's kind of walking around where Hector got shot at, because if you don't know, this thing is haunting him. It might not look like it at first, but you can see it is haunting him. And Matt ends up finding the bullet that was shot. And so we see Matt pull up to this office kind of underground, in the underground of New York. And we then see Frank Castle really pull up. He runs up on Matt and holds him to a locker because he didn't know that it was him at first. And we see, Matt and Frank just have a conversation. He's like, yo, someone's posing as you. And Frank's like, yeah, I got a bunch of fanboys. And we see them both have just a crazy conversation about their ideologies, which is the best way to see them talk. And, Frank just reads Matt like a book. He's like, you came here for permission. You want me to give you the green light to go and crash out because that's how you feel. And Frank, brings up Hector and the fact that, like you followed the way of the law and look where it got you. You're relying on this system, and Frank calls him out for not doing anything about it, for not dressing up as, or for not, actually trying to make a change. And Matt opens up and he starts crying, and finally shows his pain because he's kind of been hiding it all episode. And Matt says the same thing, like, I relied on the system, and pointed to the fact that the system failed. Like, yes, the system might have passed, as in the law passed, but the cops still got away with free murder. And so the Punisher then brings up, Foggy too, and saying like, but what about Foggy? He's like, Bullseye's in jail when he's alive, but Foggy's not alive, And Matt Murdock, it seems like he's still fighting it, but that he maybe realized what he has to do. So we also then, right after that, we get a scene of Kingpin and Vanessa having a conversation. And it just looks like Vanessa and Kingpin, they're still on the rocks. Kingpin still wants to try to save this marriage, but Vanessa just doesn't seem like she's with it, bro. She seems very like just miserable. And so we then see, Kristen at Matt's house. Matt gets home after his conversation with the Punisher, and Kristen's all on him. He does his thug fizzle. They get it on, and we see Kingpin as well. Kingpin is walking down somewhere, and we see Matt walking up somewhere. So they're both walking. It's funny how he's walking down and Matt's walking up. I think that's kind of symbolism of how, Kingpin is going back down to, his old criminal ways, and how Matt is going up to becoming a hero again. And we see that, Daredevil grabs his little two staffs and he starts training again, which was awesome to see. And we see that that Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, he didn't kill her sneaky link yet, but he has him captured and jailed. And so he's eating dinner in front of him while talking to him. And her sneaky link is just crashing out and screaming. And we found out that he has him locked up. And then the episode ends with Muse draining a guy's blood, and the episode ends. And and I think I need to do an origin video on Muse and why he's draining blood. I think we needed that. But all in all, this episode is amazing. I said, I understand why they didn't want to use a suit, because they're trying to get us excited for it again, and seeing him train, I think, is the start. And I think next episode, we're going to see Daredevil don that costume. But no, this episode was dope. And I think that it's really showing a lot about, just Daredevil in general, about how he's going to go back to his old ways. He's going to go back to the things that, he was doing, which was saving people. And then Kingpin is going back to the things that he's going to be, which is a criminal. And one of the things that I'm seeing is that, both of them are able to be fine when the people they love aren't touched. And when the people you love get touched and killed and stuff like that, it does something to you, the people that you care about. If we're on one end, we see that with Wilson Fisk and, Vanessa, the thought of her cheating on him, I think, eats him alive to a point that is just of no return. But with Daredevil, Matt Murdock, him freeing Hector Ayala from this, from the whole cop situation, then he gets shot in the head blatantly. It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?